There is a lot of talk today about how Ottawa is doing on a global sector from a technology perspective. In this episode of Techopia Live, we talk with someone who's working on the front lines of technology entrepreneurship for the University of Ottawa. He will share his perspective on the entrepreneurial advantages of Ottawa. He'll share some of the entrepreneurial success stories connected to U Ottawa, and he'll issue a challenge to some of our viewers and listeners. Join us as we zoom in and zoom out on hashtag Mission Entrepreneurship coming up on Techopia Live. Hello, I'm Michael Curran from the Ottawa Business Journal. Welcome to Techopia Live. This is a podcast from OBJ that features executives from Ottawa's technology ecosystem. We want to shine a spotlight on the up-and-comers, and we want to keep you updated on the established flagship companies, all with the goal of keeping you informed and connected. Listen, this is a bonus episode of Techopia Live. These bonus episodes are specifically designed this year to highlight the great work that's being done by our Techopia champions. Our Techopia champions are the organizations who fund everything that is Techopia, our daily reporting, the podcast, our emails, magazines, so on and so forth. And in this bonus episode, we're focused squarely on the University of Ottawa and its impact on the local technology ecosystem. We are branding this episode as hashtag Mission Entrepreneurship. And we have a great guest to explore this topic. Let's welcome him now. He is the Associate Vice President, Innovation Partnerships and Entrepreneurship at the University of Ottawa. Please welcome back to Techopia Live, Guy Levesque. Hey, Guy, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Michael. It's good to be back with you in this beautiful month of May, and I'm so happy to be a bonus Techopia participant.
That's it. Yeah, you're the bonus. Hope you enjoy that. And you are coming back. So we did record an episode with you, Guy, about a year ago, and we really enjoyed that. But we're back with some different content today. But let's start off by allowing you to introduce yourself a little bit and your unique role at the University of Ottawa, Guy.
Thanks, Michael. So you round off my title, which involves innovation, partnerships, and entrepreneurship, a role that I've had now for about a year and a half, but I've been working at for the last 4.5 years at the University of Ottawa. And really this year, our focus is really to have my team be on a mission entrepreneurship. And part of it was triggered by the amazing things that have been happening in the city for the last year. Really an innovation destination that's just picking up, and that's just starting to explode in terms of the interest, the profile, and the attractiveness of our technology, private sector, and also academic communities. And so I'm just thrilled to be one of many champions in the city to push and to support and promote entrepreneurship in Ottawa.
I really do think you've got this unique role, Guy, because you are very much a connector in the local technology ecosystem. You're going back and forth between academia, associations like Canada North Business Association. You're forging partnerships with these, big global enterprises a little bit. So we just had an image on screen there to talk about, your vision or your thoughts on mission entrepreneurship. Let's go a little bit deeper on, what that term means to you.
Great. Appreciate the question, Michael. And so you're right that I do have this very unique seat in Ottawa, in that I have a couple of day jobs, including as chair of the Canada North Business Association, which I do in the afternoon after I do my morning job at the University of Ottawa. So for us, entrepreneurship is really the seed and the nursery that we want to build for Ottawa to continue to be the prosperous entrepreneurial a community that it can be. And it was really driven home to me over the last year when we see the number of investments coming in from private sector, from governments, from foreign direct investment sources to help kind of continue to promote and stoke the fire that entrepreneurship has created here in Ottawa. One of the really neat things about entrepreneurship is that it is a signal that the community and that the region is serious about filling the talent pipeline that feeds the large companies and the multinationals and the SMEs that are thriving in the region. And our job is to make sure that as many people get to touch and taste entrepreneurship at the University of Ottawa as possible, so that they become interested, but they become our future leaders. And it really hit home when I was able to attend the Techopia EY Insights kickoff a few months ago, to really look at how important University of Ottawa plays a role in creating those seeds. I look at the CEO of the year, who's a Telford grad with full script. I look at all of the next gen companies that are featured in the Techopia Insights booklet and magazine that have ties back to the University of Ottawa and ties to our entrepreneurship hub, but also ties to a number of other key actors in the community, including Invest Ottawa, the Canada North Business Association, all our incubators like LSpark. So my job is to kind of help create that excitement and that interest of our student population to be active participants and contributors to that ecosystem.
That's really neat, and you're doing a great job for it. So we're anxious to dig into this. We've got three key themes. We're going to preview them now. So if you're watching on video, we're going to show you our themes. The first one is entrepreneurial community is growing and thriving. So we're going to dig a little bit into that, Guy. The second one is U Ottawa's eHub success story. I like this one, and it's a really good story to tell. And then we're going to talk about how U Ottawa is issuing kind of a call to action, so to speak, to everyone in the technology ecosystem, and reminding us that we're in a work in progress. So things might be going really well in Ottawa, but the work is never done. So let's dig into that first theme. Guy, we'll jump right in. The entrepreneurial community is growing and thriving. You've already kind of referenced some of it. We'll have a graphic come on screen here, but there is a little bit of some growth that we should be noting right now, whether it's a venture capital or whether it's some of these startup companies kind of leveling up. Let's start talking about that a little bit. And you've got a slide we'll show here in a second called Advantage Ottawa. I think it's a really cool slide.
Thanks, Michael. So you referred to me as a connector, which is one of my roles. Another role is to be a bit of a provocateur. And I used this slide last fall in a talk at Exec Tuesday in Canada North to really demonstrate how rich our innovation, partnership, and entrepreneurial ecosystem is in Ottawa. And there's so many committed individuals and champions and organizations that play a role in Ottawa, but also the Eastern Ontario region. And so this is just a short list of those who are active players on the scene. And so for Ottawa to take advantage and to be the beneficiary of all the work and the support and the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into supporting and building our entrepreneurial mindset and entrepreneurial community in Ottawa, for me, it's a great sign that Ottawa has arrived as an innovation destination and that we're getting noticed more and more. One of the key indicators for me is the number of international delegations that are coming to Ottawa. They're stopping at the university, they're stopping at in Canada North to find out what's going on here, because there's something really, really neat going on. And part of that is, as you've seen, the Prime Minister coming to do a show and tell or a roadshow, open mic forum, Nokia, Ericsson making significant investments in Ottawa. And the reason they're doing that is multiple, but the fact that there's such a great talent pool to pick from to build their growing enterprises. So for us, it's really to help create and build and strengthen and kind of expand horizons for those who know they want to be entrepreneurs, those who are interested about entrepreneurship, and those who had no idea about entrepreneurship but become the very best entrepreneurs that the city can offer.
And I want to give you a little credit for this document on screen, Guy, because You'll probably appreciate this. It's very easy for CEOs and technology startup entrepreneurs to be kind of heads down on this and not understand kind of the full breadth of what's happening across Ottawa. So we might think, oh, KNBA is doing a really good job, or I Invest Ottawa is doing a really good job. But in fact, it's multiple things, I think, happening simultaneously. People, to use the metaphor, rowing in the same direction and trying to build the momentum. So again, I want to give you credit for this because you really do need the ability to zoom out and recognize everyone that's contributing to this Advantage Ottawa, as you're calling it.
Right, and the key here is also not only to zoom out, but to zoom in. And so what we're doing from an entrepreneurial kind of experience for our students is making them understand that Ottawa is a really great destination for them to build out their entrepreneurial aspirations. And so, the great thing is that we get to point to so many great successes that we'll talk about in the next panel. But those successes require, they require a village for us to be able to nurture them and grow them from the original thought that they may have had at a pitch fest that we've done on campus to actually having a business model that makes sense and then that meets the needs of a market and then become a thriving company. And so there's so many successes, and it's great to look at, again, the Techopia Insights, because many of those successes are highlighted and featured in that magazine. And it's a source of significant pride for my team, for the University of Ottawa, and should be a source of pride for the city as a whole.
Well, we've teased it a couple of times, Guy, so we're going to move into our second theme, which is Ottawa's eHub success story. And I'll be very transparent, Guy. So I know of we're going to talk about a bunch of companies here. I know of them. We've interviewed them on the podcast. We've written about them, so on and so forth. I knew in some cases about the connection to U of O, but I got to say, even I was kind of like, what? Okay, eHub is directly, played a role in developing these. But anyway, let me throw this to you to talk about Ottawa's eHub and some of the companies that have effectively graduated or that you've helped nurture.
Right. So let me just talk about very briefly kind of the success story that our Entrepreneurship Hub has had for the last 12 years. It's been around that long. It's had probably a portfolio of about 110, 115 companies in its history. More than a third of those are still actively thriving today, locally or globally or online. So that's an extremely high success rate for entrepreneurship enterprises or startups that originated from a undergraduate student or a graduate student idea that germinated during their studies. So this is a slide that kind of is our pride and joy. We use it to demonstrate the genealogy of entrepreneurship in the city. And what's interesting is many of these companies got their start in a faculty with the Entrepreneurship Hub, but then went on to take some time at Invest Ottawa, take some time at LSpark to continue to nurture and grow and mature their business and technology and social enterprises so that they become, kind of robust and kind of bulletproof in terms of having a solid footing so that they can actually have some great success. Some of them are really taking off, and we'll talk a little bit about Noibu and a little bit about Wellbe, two of those next-gen organizations and companies that are growing by leaps and bounds in the city. Some of them are extremely well-known as DNA Genotech or The Grocer, as you know, and profiled many, many times. But eHub is just one of many activities around entrepreneurship on campus at the university. So I don't want to give the impression that the Entrepreneurship Hub is the end-all, be-all of entrepreneurship. The Faculty of Engineering, the Faculty of Science, the Faculty of Medicine, even the Faculty of Social Sciences, and of course our Telfer School of Management all have very robust entrepreneurship programs. You know that we send almost every year an enterprise to the the Enactus Nationals that do extremely well. And so we finished in the top 4 again just last week in Montreal at the Nationals. So the success has been phenomenal, and part of that is because our philosophy, or since I joined the university, was that every student who wants to taste entrepreneurship should have an opportunity to do so. Some of them do it once. Some of them like it so much that they continue on, and they find time in their busy schedules, full-time undergraduate or graduate work, and launching, starting, building, growing a company. So, the testament is really to the students and of course to the team that is led by Kathleen Kemp, who you know quite well, who's just been a powerhouse for us for the 5+ years that she's been with us at the University of Ottawa.
I think it's worth underlining this point, Guy, and it's true of University of Ottawa. It's true of some of the other post-secondaries. There was probably a day in time years ago where if you were, thought that you were in university and you were interested in entrepreneurship, that would only come potentially through the business school. Maybe it would come a little bit through the entrepreneurship program. But what the post-secondaries in Ottawa have really figured out, I think that's really interesting, is that a student from any faculty can get involved in entrepreneurial programs. It could be from the arts program. They could be from philosophy programs that you wouldn't necessarily think would develop an entrepreneurs. And I think that's kind of the beauty. It's recognizing some of the beauty of entrepreneurship, that people come to entrepreneurship with different talents and different ideas. And they don't necessarily have to have an engineering background or a business background. It might be a different perspective on something.
Precisely, and we've kind of broadened and redefined the word entrepreneurship on campus, because it's not all about creating a business or having a $1 billion unicorn. It really is about solving a particular wicked problem or tackling a tough societal challenge, and creating a solution that is often most recognized through an enterprise, whether it's a company or an enterprise or a collection of individuals who are focused on tackling and solving a problem. Entrepreneurship we've defined in a much broader term, and we've looked at it from a expose, learn, apply, grow model of continuum. So it really is something that you nurture and that you grow for the course of an undergraduate career of 3, 4, 5 years. And so from that perspective, we really are there to support and just to provide a guiding hand. And again, we're not the end all be all, because we rely so heavily on business mentors, technology leaders from the ecosystem who are coming in, giving their time willingly to help coach, support, and challenge these entrepreneurs in their development, so that they learn really good lessons really early that can be applied across a spectrum of their chosen fields or chosen careers, which in a lot of cases is not going to be entrepreneurship or business, but it makes them much better problem solvers and much better strategic thinkers about the issues that surround them and how to best approach them to find solutions. So that's right. It goes across all faculties.
And it's an entrepreneurial skill set, as you just said, that may or may not manifest itself in a private company. Just before we move on, I just want to tip my hat again. The grocer, Noibu, Welby, and many others, they're showing up in our coverage all the time at OBJ and Techopia. They're receiving 40 under 40 awards. That's true again this year. They're on our fastest growing companies. So it is really something just to appreciate, because I think sometimes we have a sense that, other cities or these U.S. Colleges and universities have figured out the innovation puzzle more than we have. And yet I think we should, and there's a little bit of a transition here to our next theme, we should appreciate what we've done. And also, here's the transition. Here's the segue to theme 3, you Ottawa call to action, the work is never done. So as you indicated, there's lots to be excited about, Guy. There's lots of success stories to point to. But I think you and your colleagues and the faculty at University of Ottawa are issuing a little bit of a call to action, saying, hey, we all need to stick to our knitting, as the saying goes. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, the work is never done, and it's also what keeps us motivated and gets me excited when I get up at 4:50 in the morning to tackle another day of success and discovery and innovation and maybe create the spark when I attend a pitch fest or when I support one of the programs that our entrepreneurship hub is delivering, or that I do a guest appearance at a particular event that the Faculty of Engineering might be hosting, or the Telfer School of Management. One of the eureka moments we had just not too long ago was when we hosted a delegation of the RBCX senior leadership to meet with our Entrepreneurship Hub team. And the slide we showed in just the previous segment with all those company logos, every single one of those companies was known to RBCX. What they did not know, and you talked a little bit about this in your opening remarks, is wow, these are all came out of Entrepreneurship Hub, our flagship startup garage program, but many of them graduated to go on to the Ignition accelerator program at Invest Ottawa. So that was kind of an aha moment that the RBCX folks and folks in the community said, I had no idea that these all had their start in an entrepreneurship program at the University of Ottawa. So part of the call to action is that we continue to be relentless champions. You're the best champion that Ottawa has in terms of promoting business and emerging leaders. I try to emulate you in much of my work, and so we have a cadre of these champions, and we see that on media, on social media, and just by the sheer number of events that are happening and programs that are being delivered to support entrepreneurship community. So the ability to continue to build bridges, make connections, and also be fearless cross promoters of each other's work and good news. We also looked at recent coverage at the OBJ when Invest Ottawa had its Ignition celebration graduation party, and they had 10 graduating companies in their cohort. Well, of the 10, 3 of them had gone through the eHub programs, and 8 had U Ottawa founders. So it's just amazing how much the University of Ottawa and our programs and our faculties and our students have a fingerprint over the entrepreneurial community that we have. I just saw a post by the dean of the Telfer School, Stéphane Brutus, who said of the top 40 under 40, 8 of them are Telfer grads, including Elisabeth Boudreau, who is WellBe founder. And when I saw that news a few weeks ago, I tweeted it out and I said, Elizabeth, great, fantastic news, and guess what? You get to win the top 40 under 40 another 9 times before you're not eligible anymore. So it also speaks to the fact that our entrepreneurial community is getting their experience and getting their feet wet at an early age, and are really successful because of the support and mentorship that we're providing. So the call to action is to not stop being fearless and shameless promoters. Ottawa, we can talk about us being an innovation and entrepreneurship destination. And the third thing is, we have a really good opportunity right now to kind of define the future of the city. We're thinking about the city, the downtown core, how that has evolved and changed. And, there's been task force about the future of the city. Well, innovation should be at the core of any of our thoughts about future plans for the city. Maybe the downtown core becomes a technology or an innovation or an incubation or acceleration core that brings a brand new group of citizens and of leaders into the downtown core that to replace those empty spaces and vacant spaces in that few square kilometers just south of Parliament Hill.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that. If we're redefining the downtown core, we better have a special spot for innovation and technology, whether it's a massive drop-in zone or whatever. But it's a great thought, Guy. And by the way, you mentioned Elizabeth. I meant to say that she's the youngest recipient this year for 40 under 40, and that's why she could theoretically. We don't allow anyone to say receive it twice, but theoretically, I got your point. She could receive it 9 or 10 more times.
Right.
Guy, we're going to start wrapping up, but we've got hundreds and hopefully thousands of people that are watching the video, both on the visual platforms and audio platforms. I kind of think of you, Guy, as being on the front lines for the University of Ottawa. You're like, I don't know if you like this term, you're like the concierge almost. Like you're looking for people from the technology companies, CEOs, founders to come to you and say, we want to work with the University of Ottawa, can you tell us a little bit about how people can approach you? And as we're doing that, we'll share your contact information, of course.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for that, Michael. I have the privilege of leading what I call the innovation machine at the University of Ottawa. So we are a group of laser focused individuals on building connections, academia to industry, students to technology leaders. We try and bring people in environments where their ideas and their interests can connect. And that's a quote from Stephen Johnson, who's written a book on a pretty famous book on innovation. And really, that's what motivates our team every day, is that how can we build those environments? And we do that by events. We do that by being out in the community. We do that by being visible. We continually profile and shout out the successes that are happening. And in Ottawa, there are so many successes happening on the innovation front. Big ones like University of Ottawa building the Advanced Medical Research Center, where we break ground in a few short months. The Ottawa Hospital building its brand new campus. So life sciences is taking off. High tech, as you know, Canada North is really Canada's original innovation global supercluster, and we want to continue to prime that engine so that Ottawa is recognized for its innovation status and being an innovation powerhouse at the same level as some of the other leading cities in the country and in North America. So our job is talk to us, and we find areas of common interest. We find areas of connection, and we find areas where we can mutually help each other, that through talent, through solutions, through partnerships. And if we can continue to grow the entrepreneurial quotient of our community, then I have very, very strong hopes that Ottawa will continue for many, many decades to be an innovation powerhouse.
Yeah, I share that vision, Guy, and I want to salute you. I want to salute the deans that are also out there, Stéphane Brutus and Jacques Beauvais, just to name a couple that are out there. I think there was a day and time, and this is decades ago, where universities were very insular, and to interact with them, you'd have to come on campus. And I see you out in the community everywhere, Guy, bumping into you, and it's great to see the universities and this push to be part of the community in such a strategic and proactive way. So again, thank you for appearing on this episode, Guy. It was great to get your thoughts on this, and I want to also thank the University of Ottawa for its support of Techopia, both the podcast and the other parts of this project. So thank you very much, Guy. I'm sure to bump into you probably in a matter of hours, quite frankly.
Thank you so much, Michael. It was a pleasure.
Okay. All right. And that was a great episode with Guy Levesque again. Great to have him back on this Techopia Live podcast. By the way, this is all the time we have for today. Time certainly flies when you're having fun, as they say. I want to thank you for watching and or listening today. We hope Techopia is keeping you informed and connected. Let's keep building Ottawa's technology utopia. That's Techopia. See you later. Bye-bye.